Hello, strangers. I'm Andy.
Yes, and I'm Mark. In a bit of a
This
rush
is-
today.
Yes, this is a very rushed edition of Strange Stuff podcast because Mark, who, as we all know, is very busy and has a hectic schedule, can only stay for 55 minutes today.
Hectic schedule. I was up at 7. I've been preparing lunch ahead of doing this so that all I need to do is put it in the oven, because I have little ones who you don't want to disrupt their schedule by more than 5 minutes, otherwise it's riots.
Not your problem. It's got a mother.
Yes, it's true. Sorry, so I've got to eat something because I haven't eaten since 7 o'clock this morning.
So my schedule is okay to be interrupted.
What, by 5 minutes?
Well, we never finish actually at 11 o'clock.
No, but since you're happy to ramble on regardless of what I say, you can just carry on for another 5 minutes and just pretend I'm here.
Actually, it's a good opportunity for me to just tell the listeners what I really think.
I think the listeners know what you really think, Andy.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyway, so you're still gainfully employed. That's good.
Yeah, at the moment, although I think things might change very quickly after Christmas.
Do you think?
Well, they had an all hands last week, and the question was asked directly, will there be any more planned layoffs after Christmas? And the answer came back as a definitive, absolutely not.
All right. So that means it's going to happen.
You know damn well that the lying fuckers have already made up a list. Although,
yes.
Once more, I don't think I'm personally at risk. The only way I can lose my job, really, I think, is if they shut down the workshop completely. And I can't see them actually stooping to that level just yet. We're way too important.
Well, they'd have to subcontract the work to experienced people in the town. So
it couldn't be done. The timeline required just couldn't be fulfilled by outside contractors.
Good. Very good. Yes. Well, there's not too much to report my side. I've been... of course, I was away for a week.
Yes, I know, yeah. There's not too much to report except that 20% of your gang have left the building.
It is nearly 20%, isn't it? It's quite unusual. No, it's actually 2 out of 7. 2 out of 7, so it's more than 20%. Is it? Yeah. God, 23%. Yeah. 2 out of 7. It's quite amazing. Anyway, we had a good... do you call it a wake in English?
We do.
So we had a good wake. We took you might know it actually, the George in Great Portland Street.
Of course I know the George. Isn't it the Royal George?
Could be the Royal George. It's the one that, absolutely classic long bar on the corner of Great Portland Street and I can't remember. And, Ian was very popular, so it was absolutely jammed with people. And, it was just basically a drink up. No speeches, no nothing. It was just, just having a good gathering. And some people
Right.
I hadn't seen in quite literally 40 years. 43 years, actually, one of them, Angela.
Some of them you can happily wait another 43 years.
No, it was very good. It was very good. Very nice atmosphere and a real sort of celebration type thing. So it was good. And I had a nice couple of days in England, actually. I stayed with my friend Mike.
Oh, Mike, who refused to subscribe to our podcast.
Probably because he thought it was crap.
Mike, who said he'd rather spend his 10 quid on or 5 quid on a movie streaming service where he could watch the same fucking films every day for the next 6 months rather than get quality content
on a weekly basis. We never repeat ourselves. I wonder how often we do, because my memory is such I can't remember. The news stuff I can't remember. Of course, what definitely has happened in this week is that Assad has gone.
Yeah.
I find that quite amazing, actually, because do you remember how long that civil war lasted?
Well, his
It went
family
on
have
2 or 3
been
years or something.
his family have been in power for nearly 60 years.
Yeah.
And I mean, I keep seeing these pictures of him in the newspaper and I can't believe his fucking neck. It's
Something
like
weird.
4 feet long. He's like a fucking meerkat. He looks like a
Yes.
fucking meerkat.
Yeah, you're right. Well, it didn't slow him down in terms of his brutality, that's for sure. The signs of relief on the population of Syria.
I wonder though, because he's married to a British girl.
Actually, Syrian descent, British girl.
Yes, but I mean, technically, she was born and brought up in England.
Well, she was born and brought up in England.
And I wonder how much she had to do with the actual brutality of that reign, because she was often known for saying that she was the true dictator in the house.
Well, I don't know anything about that, but it's an interesting point. If you're aware of something, if you're aware of your actual husband...
Oh, she's as guilty as he is.
Well, no, that was the question.
100%.
Sorry, that is the question.
Yeah.
Is she as guilty?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I suppose that is the only conclusion you can come to, really.
You can't say, oh, I'm just his wife. He does what he wants. That is not an acceptable excuse.
No. I mean, anyway, so I think that she and he are now in Russia, aren't they? That's what they say.
Yes, they snuck him out of the country pretty damn quick.
But as I say, what's amazing is the civil war lasted 2 years or something last time, and this time it was over in a week.
It was over in about 10 minutes.
So what was the difference? Why was it the rebels, if you call them rebels, freedom fighters, were so successful? Is it because Russia wasn't able to support them in any military sense?
I think they probably had a lot of inside help this time.
Could be.
Assad is probably pissed off his inner circle.
Maybe. Well, certainly he's out. I don't think he's going back, that's for sure.
Oh, he will never go back.
So, yes, that's on the Syria front. Don't know what else is going on in the world.
Eddie Jordan.
Eddie Jordan, the Formula One fellow?
Yeah.
What happened?
Pretty bad case of the old cancer.
Has he? Eddie Jordan's got cancer, has he?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, really?
I mean, you're the Formula One fan.
I know, exactly. Exactly, I am. I hadn't read that, though. The thing is, I follow some Formula One things on X or Twitter or something, but they're always trying to make sensational headlines, and then you read the article and it's absolutely nothing, so I sort of stop reading the social media side of things. But of course, I think Hamilton tested in a Ferrari the other day.
Oh, I was hoping you were going to say Hamilton tested positive and only has days to live.
Why don't you like Lewis Hamilton?
Fucking hate that little jumped up clothes horse.
What do you mean jumped up? 7 times world champion,
oh,
Sir Lewis Hamilton.
For fuck's sake.
What do you mean? I'm not making it up. It's not rumours, it's fact.
He's a prat.
Sir, he's not.
He is.
He's only a prat in your mind, is because he stands up for his values.
Oh, I stand up for my values, and you call me a misogynist, a racist.
Yes, but unfortunately, you never have an answer to it. I heard somewhere that part of the deal with Ferrari was that they were going to put 400 million into one of his foundations.
What the fuck is... You know what? Foundations, this is one of the reasons I hate them. His foundation...
Do-gooders. You hate them.
If you go into the whys and wherefores of most people's foundations, they actually use less than 1% of the money in that foundation to do any good whatsoever. The rest of it is just a fucking fund hidden from the tax man that they can use instead of paying their taxes. Well, it's a fucking scam, and you should know that coming from the city.
Well, I'm going to spend the next week doing a bit of research, Andy, to prove you wrong.
Oh, you're gonna come back with your tail between your legs and go, I fucking hate that Hamilton.
I told you, I think I've told you once before, that the reason I have followed Hamilton throughout his whole career is because when the children were young, I remember watching an episode of Blue Peter, if you remember that, Valerie
I do.
Singleton and such like. And Lewis Hamilton appeared on Blue Peter as a 12-year-old karting champion.
He's lucky he went on Blue Peter and not Jim Will Fix It.
You're absolutely right. Yes, if it had been on Jim Will Fix It,
Dear
it would
Jim,
have had
can you fix it for me to drive a Formula One car?
God, you are terrible. Oh, dear. And talking of that prompts me to Archbishop of Canterbury. What was his name?
Oh, that wanker, Justin Welby.
Gone.
He's been the Archbishop since I was a kid.
He's gone. And what was
thank God.
quite staggering was his resignation speech from the House of Lords. He was sort of quite jovial. Did you hear it?
No, I didn't. I've hated that man for years. He's so complicit in everything that's bad about the Roman Catholic Church.
He's not Roman Catholic. He's Church of England.
Same thing for me. They're all fucking perverts and wankers.
No, you'd have to say in this instance, the Roman Catholic Church is worse than the Church of England.
Well, actually, not. Not if you look at what he was covering up and what he was probably involved in, actually.
Allegedly, absolutely not.
Well,
no one even
It's
alleged
not even
it.
allegedly. I mean, he's complicit as hell. He's as guilty as if he did that himself.
How do you spell Willoughby?
Welby, Welby.
I'm going to see if he is Church of England or if he is.
Oh, he is Church of England because that's
he is.
the reigning monarch's religion. So
that's right. That's why Archbishop. Is it Archbishop? That's the trick. I never know whether it's the Archbishop.
He was
who
the
is
Archbishop of
Catholic.
Canterbury.
He was, right.
Yeah.
Because what's the Catholic one?
The Archbishop.
What are they called?
Archbishop.
I don't think it is it?
I think they are. They also they have different ranks depending on how paedophilic they are.
Yes, he's an Anglican bishop. So Anglican is Church of England.
Yeah.
I should know this stuff, for God's sake.
Well,
being brought up a devout Catholic as you were, you should know this stuff as well.
yeah, I know, but luckily I got out before I was initiated into the
Really?
priesthood.
Were you going to become a priest?
No, but I was going to be initiated. I was cute as hell when I was a kid. I was definitely on the list.
My father was going to be a priest. He was the chosen siscon. What's that? When you boys and girls, what are they called? The children. He was the chosen child.
Novices.
No.
That's nuns.
No. Just brothers and sisters. What are they? What's their
siblings?
Siblings. Thank you, siscon siblings. He was the sibling that had been chosen to become the priest in the family, as did all good Italian families.
Who the fuck makes that kind of decision? What
An
kind of child abuse family do you come from?
Oh, an Italian family.
And you were
obviously.
going to be a priest, and you were going to be a sheep farmer, and you just a gigolo.
Needless to say, he didn't become a priest, otherwise I wouldn't have been around.
I was actually an altar boy when I was younger.
Yeah, so you must have come pretty close, actually.
No, luckily I had a non-abusive priest. He was Father Michael Tuck. Father
He was
Tuck,
a good man.
if you don't mind.
He was a good man, was he?
He was a good man. And it was a church in Hackney. And both me and I think it was my younger brother, Ronnie, were altar boys. And we were the two worst. I mean, we were,
drinking wine and eating wafers.
and possibly stealing the family silver.
Oh, no.
No, we didn't actually nick anything from the church, but it wouldn't have been an impossibility. But yeah, Father Tuck, he was a really nice bloke. And when we moved out of Hackney and went to live in Highgate, we started school in Islington. And I think I was in my second year in Islington, and he turned up at the school to become our school priest. And
All
it
right.
was then that he informed me that he had high hopes of me entering the priesthood.
Really?
Fucking hell, can you imagine?
No.
They wouldn't
But
have accepted me.
what I also can't imagine is, sorry, going back to you moved from Hackney to Highgate.
Yeah, we
How
went.
on earth did you get let into Highgate, a family like yours? Highgate's pretty upmarket. Yeah, exactly. Now the truth comes out. You were, in fact, low. You had a nanny.
My old man knew a Camden councillor.
Oh, what do you mean? You moved in? Sorry, but I don't mean to be. But you moved into a council house in Highgate.
Yes,
You didn't.
Lissenden Gardens.
Really, they had council estates in Highgate.
Does
did
that
they?
does that disgust you?
Not at all.
Fucking
No,
snob.
I think it's very,
Very diverse.
Exactly, very diverse.
To let the riffraff in.
To allow the working classes into Highgate.
Well, who else is going to rifle your bins for your leftovers?
Yeah. Yeah.
But we had a lovely place there, Parliament Hill Mansions overlooking the Lido.
That's right. You've mentioned that before. That's also pretty dodgy to allow your family to overlook the Lido.
It was actually pretty dodgy and I'm going to shame him here. My older brother bought a telescope specifically for that purpose.
So does that still exist, this Lido?
Yeah, of course.
What do you mean,
And
of
so
course?
does my old flats. In fact, I was showing it on Google Maps to Teresa yesterday when we had dinner.
All right.
Because she was showing me where she lived in Portugal, and I showed her where I lived in London.
Yes.
And it brought back some great memories. Some of the best years of my life there.
I'm not surprised. So, how did you stay? Did the family stay in Highgate until the end?
Well, we started off in sort of Queen's Crescent area.
Yeah.
But we lived basically I was very young. I think we moved out of there when I was 6 or 7. It was only like a one room in a house, basically, with a outside toilet, even probably.
All right.
And then we moved into this new build, high rise block of flats in Hackney. It was called North Ed Point, and it became famous because when they demolished it, it only came halfway down, so it was on the TV.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But we were there for a few years, but none of us could really adjust. We got sent to a new school, which we fucking hated.
Oh, really?
So my dad ended up driving us back to our old school every day in Highgate. And then after about 4 years, I guess, the old man had a few beers with a local councillor from Camden and got us put to the top of the list, and we moved into Listening Gardens. It was like a different world.
I can imagine. It's lucky you weren't young now, because you would be one of the families where the kids are driving around on e-scooters and e-bikes and terrorizing the neighborhood, I'm sure.
Oh, definitely. We would definitely have a gang.
I would have been your target.
Absolutely.
Demographic.
We would have circled you like vultures. And then picked the bones.
I don't know if it is as bad as I imagine it is in London, having just come back from there. But I'll tell you what, even my friends sort of avoid using the phone on train platforms and walking down Oxford Street.
You can't do anything now. And the thing is, it's not just because they'll nick the phone. They'll stab you while they're doing it.
Oh.
For absolutely no reason. Fucking savage country.
And I wouldn't, I definitely wouldn't wear a nice watch or anything in London these days.
Nope. There's too many stories in the newspapers about watches.
Yeah.
Gives people ideas.
Yeah. No, I mean,
I used to have
terrible.
no worries walking around wearing a nice Cartier watch.
No, well, I mean, obviously, when I lived there, I had nice watches, and I used to wear them without a second thought. But these days, I mean, I just don't do it. I don't even take them into England. I mean, I've only got one, but I mean, you know what I mean.
Mm.
I sort of wear my Google Watch, not Google Watch. What's it called? Apple Watch.
Apple Watch.
But as I
Now
say,
I
it
have
was nice to go back. Oh, you've
now I
got
have my Bugatti, which
yes,
nobody
exactly.
knows what it
knows
is.
what
So
it
they'll
is exactly.
never
They
steal
probably
it.
think it's a Casio or something. Do
Yeah.
you remember Casio? I'll tell you what I went on the other day. I don't know whether the listeners are interested in this at all, but I went on the New Elizabeth line.
I've never even been on it. I've never seen it because
I'll
I
tell you
haven't
what,
been
it's
back.
pretty impressive. It goes all the way from Reading, which is close to Henley, which is where I was staying. So you get on the train in Reading, and obviously we were getting off in Bond Street, and it goes all the way to Essex. And these trains
That's
are...
like chalk and cheese, isn't it?
No, literally. And the interesting thing about it, these new trains are very long. I'm talking very long trains, and they're completely open. So you can walk from one end of the train to the other inside.
Oh, so there's no carriage divisions.
No carriage divisions whatsoever. They say it's for security reasons.
That's actually a much better way of doing it.
Yeah, so you never get caught in a carriage with some lunatic. You can always move away. But it's just you can barely see the other end of the train when you're sitting in it. It's quite incredible. So that worked very well. But horribly expensive.
Yeah, I bet like £8 to go into town or something. £10.
You're obviously joking.
I don't know.
Well, I can tell you, Reading, all right, that's 25 minutes from Paddington or wherever the hell you get off.
So you're looking at £30.
Off peak, £32. Peak time,
which is between 8 and 6.
Well, £73.
Fuck off.
And Mike, towards the end, when he was only going to the office 2 days a week, he had to buy a day ticket. Well, yeah, you know, cabs are pretty expensive as well. Can you imagine 70 plus? That's 1,000 kroner just to go into London and back.
No, that's just no.
It's insane.
I wouldn't do it.
Absolutely insane.
That's madness.
Anyway,
talk about pricing everybody out of the capital.
Yeah, and of course, I don't know what the congestion charge is now. I think it's 28 quid.
There's two of them now because there's the ULEZ, as well as the congestion charge.
What, ULEZ is something different, is it?
No, well, you've got the toll to enter the city, and then you've got the ULEZ on top of that.
All right.
I think it's like 12 quid a day just to drive in, and then 20 quid for your pollution. Thank you very much.
Oh, well, as I said, the latter years I never went into London other than going to work every day, but you know, it was nice to be there, and I have to say that, well, it was quite nice, but you know, the top end of Regent Street just before you hit the BBC building.
Yes, Marble Arch.
No, nowhere near Marble Arch. You know, Regent Street, so north of Oxford Circus.
Yes. Oh, right, halfway up Oxford Street.
It was, sort of, yes. Anyway, it's all coffee shops. Every other shop is a coffee shop. It's Espresso House or Cafe Nero, or, you know.
Yeah, because no one else can afford the rents anymore.
No, well, clearly. I mean, you know, the old shops are still there, like Hamleys and such like.
Yeah, but they're all going. I mean, yes. Selfridges is gone.
Yeah.
I can't believe that.
You know, what do you mean Selfridges hasn't gone?
I think it has. I'm sure I read somewhere.
No. Selfridges, that they would raise a petition for that. I didn't go in, but you know, Jermyn Street. Do you know I used to work in Jermyn Street, just off Piccadilly? All of the shops have gone. All, you know, the shirt shops. Well, most of the tailors. There are a couple still left, but the hat shop, Bates, the hat shop where I used to buy my hats, they're all gone. Simpsons has gone. The only shop left is the cheese shop.
I have to go back to the hat shop.
You can't. It doesn't exist.
No, I mean we have to circle back to what you said about the hat shop,
Or
where
where?
I used to buy my hats.
Yeah. What do you
What
mean? What's
hats
wrong
did
with?
you buy? And for what occasions did you wear them?
What do you mean? I wore a hat every day when in the winter when I was going to work.
Was it
I
the same hat that everybody else in the city used to wear, like the church's shoes?
don't be.
Did
Well,
you
no,
have a uniform hat?
absolutely not, because I was one of the few people that used to wear a hat. But no, it's. I've still got it. It's a wide brim hat.
Is it a fedora?
No, it's not. It's softer than a. Is a
Trilby?
fedora made of felt? Don't be
Yes,
ridiculous.
a fedora is made of felt.
Yeah. Anyway, I seem to remember it was described as a wide brim hat, so it's a classic, you know. And as I say, I've still got it. I'd have to look it up. I'll have to
What
dig it
colour?
out.
Does it
Grey.
live in a hat box?
It lives in a box, maybe not a hat box, but yes, a grey one. And that, what was the coat that everybody wore? Not a Crombie, or was it a Crombie?
The Crombie was the one with the felt collar.
Yeah, I had one without the felt collar.
But was it a cashmere?
I didn't have a cash. I just
camel
had a wool
coat?
one. Yeah, but it's that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So I had my hat, Crombie, and obviously grey suit and church's shoes. 20 years. As compared to you, what did you go to work in?
Prison uniform.
Dungarees. Yeah. God, dear. Those were the days, Andy. It would be really funny to think that we had actually met. We probably had met at some stage, crossed each other on Broadgate or something.
Probably not met, but definitely spotted each other. I probably sized you up as a potential target.
Potential target, exactly. Did you used to drink in the pub on Broadgate?
Yes.
There was quite a sort of
The little one in the corner. There was
Exactly.
two. There was one opposite, which was a cellar bar.
Yes, no, we didn't go there,
No,
but we used to drink at the actual pub on Broadgate.
Yeah, we used to drink in that corner one. I can't remember the name of it. But we did get asked to leave once because
Did you?
Some of
You
our
were
boys,
upsetting the toffs.
some of our boys were wearing working gear.
Oh, that's a bit. What? They could actually ask you to leave because you were wearing working clothes.
We didn't.
No, but they asked you.
Yeah, because most of our work was like dismantling and rebuilding. So,
all right. Well, that's
some of the
bit
boys
bad,
were quite
isn't it?
dusty. That's fucking such snobbery.
I probably would have supported the idea at the
Yes.
time. Oh my God, what are those lot? What are those yobs doing in here?
Get these oiks out of here. Security.
Oh dear. Those
Anyway,
were
look,
the days.
You've only got 20 minutes left, so stop rambling.
God. Right, what are you talking about? What's the subject matter today?
Well, last week when you were away, Richard sat in. Very good episode, have to say. Top quality.
I'm sure it was. So this is the sequel, is it?
No, we last time you were here, I think we spoke about alien abductions or encounters.
Yes, these ridiculously
true life stories.
True life stories. I was attacked by an alien, but I didn't tell anybody because it was interfering with my tea time.
Anyway, I thought we'd look at the history of alien visitation today. And when do you think, for instance, the earliest recorded alien activity was written down?
All right. I'm going to pitch a guess now. 3,000 years BC.
Oh, that's a bit early. I mean,
No,
if you
it's not.
let's not count cave drawings.
I'm not talking about cave drawings. I was looking at it only the other day. It's some sculpture in South America, Inca activity.
Oh, you've got to be careful.
Is literally an alien-looking being sitting in a spaceship. And the spaceship is as you would imagine a spaceship, but the carving is literally 3000 BC, dated, carbon dated.
Okay, but I'm not talking about, you're still talking more or less about cave drawings. I'm talking about,
it was a stone sculpture.
yes, but there's no eyewitness reports. I'm talking about eyewitness reports.
Right.
So
I don't have
someone's got to have said, fuck me, what the hell is that?
All right. And when was that?
It was actually in 1450 BC.
All right. And where was that? Who wrote it down?
There was a chap called Thutmose III, and I've probably got his name wrong. He was sometimes called Thutmose the Great, and he was the sixth pharaoh of the
Of
18th
Egypt.
dynasty in Egypt. Yeah. And he ruled Egypt from 1479 until 1425.
And what were his exact words?
Fuck me. What's that up
What's
in the
that?
sky? Well, no, after conquering the ancient Nubian city of Napata,
Yes.
uh,
Nubian. Where's that?
Nubian is on the banks of the Nile.
Yes.
Um, uh, Napata was the ancient city of Kush at the fourth cataract of the Nile, founded by the Egyptian Amun cult for the Egyptian pilgrims, given by its Egyptian name. And it's approximately 1.5 kilometers from the east side of the river at the site of modern Karima, Sudan.
All right. Okay, got it. Yeah, know where Sudan is. That's directly south of Egypt. Yes.
Okay, and he had a stele erected, and it's called a stele, but it's spelled Stele, and it's basically a stone or a wooden slab, generally
Yes.
taller than it is wide, and it's
Yes.
erected as a monument. And he had it
Right.
erected at the Temple of Amun, and it describes how a star came down to set
Yes.
fire to Thutmose's enemies. And this has been cited by ufologists via the purported Thule papyrus,
Right.
and this is claimed to be a transcription of an Egyptian papyrus dating from the reign of Thutmose.
Right.
And the claim originated in a 1953 article published by the Fortean Society magazine.
Okay.
But it is likely a fraud, it says here. But
So that was a lot of a build-up for another nonsense story.
no, but it's not nonsense. It's like when they say it's likely a fraud, that's also another way of saying we can neither confirm nor deny.
All right. I'm looking for this alien spaceship, by the way. Carry on.
Anyway, this alleged translation used such, and it says here, Fortean tropes, which I don't really like because it's a bit biased, as circles of fire and fish that fell down from the sky.
Fish.
Yeah, because sometimes you hear these stories when it rains fish.
Yeah, but that's when they get sucked up in a typhoon somewhere and then deposited halfway around the globe.
Or sucked up by a spaceship.
Ah, like War of the Worlds.
Yes.
Weren't they sucking things up?
Yes. Anyway,
All
that's
right.
the earliest recorded what's name?
Yeah, report.
Yes. And I mean, then we can move to like 218 BC during the build up to the Second Punic War, which is the Roman Republic.
Yes.
And a chap called Livy, who was really called Titus Livius, but he was known in English as Livy because we could say that, I guess. He was a Roman historian. And he recorded prodigies in the winter sky.
Prodigies.
Yeah.
Prodigy is a gifted child, I thought.
Yes, normally. But his prodigies included such thing as phantom ships seen gleaming in the sky.
All right.
And he was probably quite sober because he was Roman and they didn't tend to drink much wine.
Not at all. They didn't drink wine.
76 BC, again, the Roman Republic. According to Pliny the Elder, he was a Roman author and naturalist, philosopher, and naval and army commander. And he's excellent. Excellent. It looks like an advert for Predator.
Maybe it is. Maybe I've done a wrong search.
Well, he said that a spark fell from a star and it grew as it descended until it appeared to be the size of the moon. Now, you would think that this was a meteorite or something. However, it then ascended and transformed into a torch. And modern day
SpaceX.
SpaceX. Maybe modern day astronomer Richard Slothers interprets the report as a description of something called a bolide, and I had to look this up. It's normally taken to mean an exceptionally bright meteor, but the term is subject to more than one definition according to context. It can refer to any large crater-forming body or to one that explodes in the atmosphere, which would explain the ascendancy in the torch. It can be a synonym for a fireball and a couple of other stuff. But I like to think that it was a torch.
Sorry, is this the one that was 800 BC? 1000?
No, this was 76 BC.
76 BC. So, do you reckon that we have been visited by aliens?
Yes, on a regular basis, much more often than is listed here.
It's an interesting thing because for them to, how long have we been around? Sort of civilization. We're talking to
13,000 years.
All right, so we've been around, let's say 2,000 years from after Christ, because everything was reasonably well documented after that. Reasonably well documented. So if you go 2,000 light years away, where do you get to?
Fucking hell. Now you're going to accuse me of not doing my research.
No, I'm
I can't
just
answer
wondering.
that ridiculous question.
I'm wondering how far out we can see. And so, should we be able to see the planet where these things came from?
It depends on whether they have faster than light travel.
Which apparently is possible. Did you know that?
Of course it's possible. Just because we can't do it and people, when scientists, and I say that, when experts and scientists say it's impossible, what they're really saying is, I can't do it, so therefore nobody can do it.
No, but it is theoretically impossible on Earth, but it's not theoretically impossible in space.
Yeah, because there's no friction. So however fast you can accelerate to is the limit of your traveling.
Is friction a factor? Must be, I suppose.
Of course, that's what causes drag. You should know this as a Formula One wanker.
It's funny when you start talking technical because it normally reveals how little you actually know about a subject. What was that? What's the expression? A little knowledge is a dangerous thing.
I know an awful lot of stuff. Most of it related to sex.
And all I know is how little I know. Oh, dear. All right, so come on then. So 76 BC, and their pictures, they actually, because they could draw in those days, did they do
took
pictures?
photos.
No, but did they draw pictures of
smartphone.
these things?
I didn't go into the pictures because I can't send them to you.
Have you ever heard the expression, a picture says 1,000 words, speaks 1,000 words?
Yes.
So one picture, like I showed you.
Yeah, but you showed that to me. That's no good to anybody else.
Well, if they see the YouTube video, they can see it.
Yeah, but then I have to remember to put it up on YouTube.
Oh, I see. Oh, well, I dressed up specially this morning. You obviously didn't with your. What on earth? What are you pretending to be? Some sort of space captain or something?
This is actually my thermal underwears.
Why do you have high vis strakes on your thermal underwear shoulders?
Because I go out in my underpants. I mean, if you're wearing thermal underwears, why should you need to wear anything else?
Seriously, what brand is that? H&M? No,
No.
Helly Hansen.
Is it Helly Hansen? Yeah.
It is Helly Hansen. God, dear. It literally looks like prison gear.
And now, a word from our sponsors.
Of course. I wonder if Helly Hansen would be interested in sponsoring us. Probably not.
Anyway, moving 3 years further on to 73 BC.
Maybe it was the same craft that had been circling.
But it did something different this time, according to Plutarch, who was a Roman army. Plutarch was a Greek Middle Platonist philosopher.
Yes.
And historian, biographer. I mean, they had a lot of jobs in those days. They wore many hats.
They did.
He was also an essayist and a priest at the Temple of Apollo in Delphi.
I don't know what an essayist is.
Essayist. He wrote essays.
All right, yeah. Yeah.
A Roman army commanded by I don't know if it's Lucullus or Lucullus.
No, Lucullus.
It would be Lucullus. His actual name, because this is always the English translation, his actual name was Lucius Licinius Lucilius. So
LLL.
We'll call him 3L.
Exactly.
He was a Roman general and statesman, and he was about to begin a battle with Mithridates the Sixth of Pontus, when the sky burst asunder and a huge flame-like body was seen to fall between the two armies. And Plutarch reports the shape of the object as like a wine jar.
A wine jar.
I'm thinking of the one that the maidens with the tits out used to carry around.
And so this was a fiery thing that descended between the two armies, but did it land?
I'm guessing it landed on the guy who was writing this down, because that's where it stops.
This is what I don't understand with these reports.
It's 73 BC.
No, but the point is that why would you miss out on the exciting bit? The reporting of the exciting...
Well, the exciting bit here is like the timeline of these happenings. It's basically when it started up to present.
No, but I would find it more interesting. And the wine goblet landed in the middle of the field, and 5 7-foot-tall alien-like creatures stepped out and started talking to us in Aramaic, which we were impressed with. That's the sort of thing I want to hear reported.
That may well have happened. It just wasn't.
I don't think it.
It just wasn't a notable event.
No, exactly. Oh dear.
Now, 65 years after the death of Brian, again, Roman Empire, and it was the beginning of the... Oh, well, anyway. A Romano-Jewish historian, Flavius Josephus, reported chariots hurtling through the clouds prior to the First Jewish-Roman War.
Chariots flying through the sky.
Bear in mind, wine.
And they had access to drugs and things in those days, didn't they?
They did, yeah. Now, I don't know if you're aware of the Jewish-Roman Wars.
No, actually. When did the Jews and the Romans, when were they at war?
They had three wars, in fact. And the first one, which was sometimes called the Great Jewish Revolt, or the Jewish War, was by the Jews against the Roman Empire because, of
Yeah, but
course, they
where
were
were they?
subjugated.
Yeah, but where were they fighting from?
This was
Where was the war?
this was in Judea, and it
All right.
resulted in the destruction of Jewish cities and towns, including Jerusalem.
All right. So Jerusalem was destroyed, was it?
In the First Jewish-Roman War. So there's a bit of a history lesson here for you today as well.
No, you're right. So the Jews in those days were like the Kurds of today. They were sort of a bit everywhere, but they didn't have a state of their own, like the Kurds. As I say,
But
like
they
the
actually
Kurds.
did. It was called Judea.
Which is modern Jordan. No. So, yeah, you're right. Oh, God, my history is absolutely terrible. Ancient history.
Bear in mind that Jews had only been around for 60 years at this point.
Why?
Well, because Jesus Christ had only just died.
Well, what's that got to do with being a Jew? It's the opposite of being a Jew. Jews don't believe in Jesus.
Jesus Christ was the King of the Jews.
Yes, but that's not what Jews believed in.
Jews still believe in Jesus Christ. Of course they do.
No, they don't.
Of course they do. That's when they celebrate Christmas. They all dress up as Jesus.
Are you having a laugh now?
They all dress up as Jesus and start singing the bright side of life.
Dear. What a sheltered
Haven't you seen
life.
them? Always look on the bright side of life, my boy.
You're as bad with religion as God dear.
Okay. Anyway, it happened.
Yep.
So let's go a bit closer to home, our home, not this home.
Yes.
And over to closer to my home in Ireland.
Right.
And this is 740 years AD. And in several sets of Irish annals, specifically those of Ulster, Tigernach, Clonmacnoise,
Yes.
and the Four Masters, all have entries to the effect that ships with their crews were seen in the air.
Really?
Yep.
All right. Ships in the sky.
With their crews.
I don't know what that means.
Well, with people in them.
I've got to break off for 2 seconds. I'm going to be back.
Unacceptable.
Oh.
Well, while he's gone, I'll take this opportunity to tell you that we will be taking a break at Christmas because I will be traveling for 1 week anyway. But we will have one more episode after this one before we take that break.
Sorry, Andy.
That's all right. I was just taking the opportunity
Slag me off.
Yes, and also to tell our listener that we will probably be having a break over Christmas because I will be traveling over at least one weekend.
All right. So when are you traveling?
I'm actually booked into the hotel,
Yes,
Bishops, on the 27th, which is Friday in 2 weeks. And then I'm staying at Andy and Earlins on the 28th.
In Borlenga?
No, in Mora.
Okay,
And then I'm probably driving back again on the 29th. So
all right.
2-day flying visit.
Okay. Unfortunately, I've got a house full of guests, so I can't entertain.
That's why I didn't bother asking. But there will probably be some form of dinner and drink going on the 27th in the Bishops.
All right. Okay. Yep.
Because I'm not just going to get there and go to bed.
No. though it might be bedtime by the time you arrive.
No, I leave stupid o'clock, so I'll get there in mid-afternoon.
All right. Okay. Yeah.
So
Yeah. All right. Good. Very good.
it's been bugging me. My cat's brush. Look at the state of that.
Oh God. Can't you clean it?
Yeah, I can, but I like to wait till it's really fluffy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Ugh.
All right. So we got to one. We were in Ireland.
Yes. And let's move into the Middle Ages, where it gets a little bit more.
Is this in Ireland?
No. We can go
Well,
to.
we didn't even talk about Ireland.
Well, Jesus, did you see the feckin' light in the sky? Feck me. Fecky feck feck.
Oh dear.
What the feck was that?
So what happened in the Middle Ages?
In Switzerland. And this is the time of printing, sort of 1566. So
All right, so we actually had a printed picture of one.
we had printed affidavits, a broadsheet published in 1566, actually did depict numerous spherical objects appearing out of the sun. And the event was recorded and depicted by Samuel Cochius, a student of the Holy Scripture and of the free arts at Basel, in Switzerland.
Right. Yeah, or even Basel, but anyway, yeah.
I like Basel. And moving to Korea, where they had so many sightings.
Well, hang on, you can't just mention these. What was the affidavit that he saw what?
He saw several spherical objects appearing out of the sun. And then he ran for the hills. The hills are alive.
That's Austria,
With
but
the
anyway.
sound of spherical objects.
I mean, they're pretty light on substance, these reports.
They are light on substance, but I was trying to go from like the Stone Age to modern times with some interesting sightings.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that was mind-bogglingly exciting. The fact that spherical objects appeared from the sun.
Now,
They were just solar flares.
Do you remember we actually did an episode on the Japanese?
Oh, what, the kids that held something in their hand?
No, in 1803, I remember. I wonder if you remember this. When local fishermen reportedly found a closed vessel with small windows adrift in the ocean.
All right, yeah.
And they said that when they investigated it, a beautiful young woman with red and white hair and dressed in strange clothes emerged, holding a square
didn't
box.
you show me a picture and
Yes.
she wasn't a beautiful young
And I
woman?
told you off for saying such nonsense. She was beautiful.
She wasn't.
But I mean, maybe the artist wasn't a great artist.
And maybe the Japanese fisherman had been at sea for 10 years.
Maybe
this was the first.
Maybe the artist was the first known caricaturist.
Exactly, yes, because that's what I remember she looked like, poor girl.
Yeah, but that was in Hitachi province in 1803.
Yeah.
Huh. Amazing.
Right, well, that's it for today.
More or less. I'm going to bring us into this century, more or less. But I just want to mention the mystery airships in North America when newspapers in 1896 across California and later other states, especially in the Midwest, printed a lot of reports of strange airships and lights, and common elements of the descriptions included cigar-shaped bodies, movable wings, and a metallic hull.
Sorry, when was this? 18-something?
1896.
Yeah, well, that's modern. That's modern, isn't it? That's not ancient.
No, I said I'm bringing this back. I'm bringing this up into modern times.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, well, that really is covering a few centuries.
Well, 4,000 years worth, basically.
I think I'm going to dig out that photograph, not this one, another photograph of this alien in a spaceship, and then we can do an episode about that.
About a picture.
Well, more interesting. It's not a picture, it's a sculpture. More interesting than some Swiss bloke who said he saw balls of light coming out of the sky, and that is that's not exciting. That happens all the time.
Well, we know about sunspots and the explodey thingies.
They didn't in 1500 or whenever it was, 1586.
Oh,
One thing to note about today's episode,
yeah.
The uploading has been very smooth from a technical perspective.
Yeah, you're actually not has Alex been tinkering with your computer by any chance?
No, I don't think so. No, not at all. No.
Very strange.
Yeah. All right, well, we are going to have to wrap it up. I'm going to have to introduce the end of the story today. Well, I hope you've enjoyed the episode today.
No. I've got one more.
Light on research, as usual.
I've got one more. In Russia.
Is this a joke?
The Russian Empire. And this is 1908, when a fireball crossed the sky above Siberia and exploded. And it flattened approximately 80 million trees.
That's a lot of trees.
It's a lot of trees. And researchers in the 50s and 60s found microscopic silicate and magnetite spheres consistent with a meteor airburst. And the area became a drop zone for Soviet rockets launched from Baikonur. In the 2000s, the Tunguska space phenomenon, a team of Russian ufologists, explored the area to search for remnants of a supposed alien spaceship. And they may well have found pieces of these discarded rocket components.
That came down in this meteor shower?
Yes, it wasn't a meteor shower. It was a one impact. And what they're saying is it was not a meteorite, my boy. It was a crashing spaceship.
I'll tell you what, it would have been an enormous spaceship to demolish 80 million trees.
Well, it could have been a whole invasion force.
Well, they didn't do very well, did they, if they just crashed and burned on Russian steppes?
They might have been having a pre-party, and the guy driving...
Maybe they didn't like the cold in Siberia.
Yeah, they thought, what the fuck kind of place is this? Whose idea was this?
I know. Of all the places to choose, you chose Siberia, -70. Oh.
Well, it's a shame you have to leave because we're just into the 20th century.
It is indeed.
And we get more detail.
Break away from this riveting episode about...
It is riveting. It's basically a history of the visitation.
Very good. Well done, Andy.
Anyway,
yeah, that was mildly entertaining.
Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Don't forget, you can follow us on Facebook, and that's about it. You can also catch us over on patreon.com/Strange Stuff Podcast, where there are many free episodes. And if you enjoyed them, you can even buy us a coffee or buy us a beer and listen to the ones that are behind the paywall.
What do you mean, a few? It's like 200.
No, not on Patreon.
No, but you said there's quite a few free ones to listen to.
On
it's
Patreon.
About 2. Oh, I see. Well, I'm getting confused anyway.
Need to take some more medicine.
Clearly.
What time is it? Medicine time.
Exactly. All right, good. So, what are we doing next Sunday?
We'll be back next Sunday, and
then we'll
be taking a break. So technically, next week's episode will be our Christmas episode.
Fair enough. Excellent. Good. And it better have a Christmas theme.
That's exactly what Richard said to me. So I've got to find a Christmassy strange stuff and a Christmassy murder.
Yeah.
At least some of us get a day off, eh? Anyway, thanks for listening. Have yourselves a strange week. And if you do get an alien visitation, take a picture and send it to Mark to shut him the fuck up.
Exactly. I want pictures.
See you next time. Bye-bye.
Very good. Bye for now.